Hello and welcome back to Together We Can Help. This is the fifth episode. My name is Akul Bavari once again. I'm an incoming freshman at SMU studying finance. Um, my goal of this show is to help small businesses and get their word out and help the community. And today we're sitting with one of my mentors, a man that's known me since I was just a little kid playing basketball. He's taught me a lot of life lessons. I know him as Coach Jay. I'm going to let him introduce himself and how he came to the position he's in today. Coach Jay.
What's up, guys? Of course, Coach Jay is what I'm known for in the community. I consider myself a life coach more so than a basketball figure. But Jay Coleman is a brand. Jamel is my actual name that my mother gave me, Jamel Coleman. But yeah, man, I'm a regular guy, athlete first. Everything I know is from the sweat equity of athletics. And when the game ended for me, I was able to kind of change that and reinvent myself in the world of business. I had to learn a lot. I didn't have a lot of mentors like yourself. I think what you're doing with this show is phenomenal and just kind of having a spotlight on different types of people, different businesses, and their input and viewpoints. Um, but yeah, I made a lot of mistakes to be where I am, but I'm here. Like as always, as a coach, I have a lot to offer. I'm an open book, very transparent. So it's cool to be sought after by you. I'm appreciative. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I'm sure you know a lot of people, influential people, especially from yourself and the family, your family. So I'm appreciative, man.
Thank you, Coach. So, Coach, let's talk about your businesses, how you got to the position that you are in today. What do they offer? What do they do? And the different things that they spotlight in our community.
Well, I'll kind of run you in a small to large scenario. So I have a transportation company. We do medical supplies, hazmat materials to elderly patients that are on hospice care. That right now is on standstill due to the virus and different things going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that was something that I created um, due to opportunity. I've always been good to people, and so I've always had grace, and different things come back to me in a positive way. And I jumped into that because I needed something to bring income when I'm not necessarily working for myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I have 7 drivers, and we drive coast to coast, man, from West Coast to East Coast, all the way to Florida to California area. So we do that. I have a basketball organization, which you know of, being a part of that as well.
Yes, sir.
Southwest Athletic Group, Swag and Leaders, an AAU program, youth program, boys and girls from grades 5th all the way up to seniors in high school. We've helped a lot of kids over the years get to college and just find themselves. I think it's not always about getting to college or being a basketball player, so to speak, at the high level. I think it's a program that uses basketball as a tool to generate kids to come in where we have like-minded interests, and then we teach them about being young adults. Right? It's about discipline and making sure that they're doing better at home and listening more and being more studious, discipline, learning how to work for what you want. And I think um, you can really look at basketball, and when they say ball is life, it's true, and you can look at that and kind of and learn so much from sports and athletics. And I think that the kids that have come through the program have learned more about life and not just about bouncing the ball. So I'm very proud of that program, and that's been around for about 8 years now. And then the ranch office. The ranch office is a real estate co-working space. We lease office space to small businesses. I have offices ranging from sizes 1 desk all the way up to 10 desks. So I think it's a really cool circumstance that we have here to help small businesses develop themselves, um, not pay so much high price dollar on office space or have to be involved in a long-term lease option. So we can do a 6 month lease, we can do a 1 year lease. So it's been really cool for startups, and a lot of times people mistaken small business or startups as no money. A lot of successful people have startups and small businesses. Just because you don't have a large staff does not mean that you're not lucrative, right? And so a lot of these guys are millionaires walking through this office. But some of them in the tech world, they build business to sell it fast, and they make millions on those deals. And so we're here for those types of tech companies, oil, gas companies. And then we have companies that are here for the long haul, and whether it's a staffing company, real estate company, they're looking to spread their wings, do great business, but save on overhead. And that's what we provide, as well as event space and other opportunities as well. So that's what the ranch office is.
So, talking a little bit more about the office, as you know, we're dealing with a global pandemic right now where employees and companies are forced to shift over to remote work, and they're seeing that they're just as productive remote. They may not be just as productive, but they're learning how to be productive through remote working. So, would you say that your office provides that opportunity to have a smaller office? Like, for example, uh, my parents' business, we have technically there's no need to have an office building, an office in a medical office building, because a lot of the work that's done is in the hospital, and clinics can be done through now different regulations through telemedicine. So, for example, the people who are working in the back office, working in the billing, working on all these different things, they can work remotely, and then they can have some administrative staff who needs to be working in a smaller office space like the ranch office.
Sure.
So do you think you're going to see a shift in businesses now? They're saying, maybe we don't need this big office. Maybe we need something that's moving towards more of the future, something that's less overhead and more just what is the bare minimum, what's productive, what gets the job done.
Correct. Yes. And so I think moments like this is a cause for evolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some things that are challenges that we have to figure out on the fly. And I think a lot of businesses are doing that right now. How can we work from home?
Mm-hmm.
Things like Zoom has become astronomically necessary for businesses as a whole. And I know people were using Zoom prior to, but definitely right now. And so now people are learning that we don't always have to meet. We don't always have to be hand to hand. We don't always have to be in a space. And I think people are getting creative right now. That's the key word. But I also feel like the juggernaut companies are also looking to downsize, and those companies just cannot manifest with everyone doing it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of those larger firms will look to companies like ours, and this will be their downsize. So there are a lot of companies right now that are saying, "Hey, we got to cut corners, and before I let people go, let's take care of trimming off some fat on overhead." And so a lot of people are trying to figure it out, whether it be well, it can't be Starbucks now because that's even closed. But whether it's everyone at home or trying to figure out small meeting places for companies to get together, that's the creativeness that people are doing right now, and bringing printers and scanners home and trying to figure it out. One thing is for certain, yes, you can cut corners on finances like that, but productivity is also going to be at a low. When people are at home, statistically, it's just not going to be the same level of productivity as it is when someone is at a venue in a mindset prepared for work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit more tangible to jump on Hulu, Netflix. It's a little bit easier to contact friends on the phone or text a little bit more because you have no micromanagement. You don't have a team system around you to hold you accountable. And so you'll start to see a lot of the lack of productivity. And I think that's our selling point, right? Our selling point is when you walk in the door here, you're prepared to get the job done, whatever that is, whatever that means. But I do think that it's crisis moments that allow companies to, or creators, all the creatives of the world to throw on their thinking cap, get smart, and figure out ways to make it easier for businesses to do different things. I think that this is going to be the new wave. Less interaction, um, It's going to be more independent work, whether it be at home or remote or somewhere else. People are going to figure out other ways to congregate, even if it is, through tech. And so we all have to be creative. That means even us. So now my selling point needs to be not only can you save money, save on these options, we already know that. But now my selling point needs to be productivity. When you're here, you get things done at a
Yeah.
low cost, at a low term, lease, in a safe, clean space. And I
Yeah.
think this is going to be necessary for the bigger companies that are looking to scale down.
Yeah. So I want to talk about like some of the things that your business offers. So I know you offer meeting spaces
Sure.
and you have the desk. So what are some things that the ranch offers that other places do not offer?
To be honest with you, the only thing that I can say, um, there's actually a few things. One, when you're here, there's a certain level of customer service,
Hmm.
where it's a family environment, right? Being at the ranch office, you have your in-house concierge feel.
Hmm.
For a fact, I know that that's not always the case for our competitors,
Hmm.
right? When you are here, you have someone to pick up donuts, you have someone to get coffee, we have amenities, we have beer on tap, we have all of these cool things to make you feel like you're at the high-rise condominium in the downtown area, the metropolitan area. You feel ritzy, you feel secure, you feel safe, and you feel special. Two, we have our own in-house gym studio,
Hmm.
which outside of Lifetime Fitness, I think they also have a co-working space.
Yeah.
But
They just opened up one actually.
outside of Lifetime Fitness, we are one of the only co-working spaces to have a fitness studio. So our members can enjoy, being able to work out with showers and the whole nine. And I think that's really, really special.
Hmm.
So in terms of us being different, I think it just comes down to the way we make you feel. I think our members stay here. Our retention is high, not only because it's a great space, but because they're so close to us, it's almost like breaking away from a family.
Hmm.
So they enjoy this type of environment that we provide.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So what are some things that the business is struggling with today due to the virus going on?
Whew. I mean, it's like everybody else, these are all challenges. I think some of them are exciting. We're also during challenge moments, you find a lot of ways to grow.
Hmm.
And I think that's where our mental juices are at this point. But yeah, man, like I mentioned earlier to you, we're trying to keep members on board.
Hmm.
And right now we understand that trimming fat is a necessity for a lot of people right now.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is instead of allowing members to just leave because they can't afford to pay the lease, what we're doing, as I mentioned, that family environment, that family vibe, what we've done is we have suspended payments for the next couple of months until people get back up and running.
Hmm.
And that's for members that we know are still here on a regular basis and we think can pay the rent no problem, all the way to the ones that we don't see as much anymore. And so what we're doing right now is showing our members, hey, we're here for you. You put your trust in us. You put your business in our hands in terms of in this sanctuary. And by joining us, we appreciate you guys enough to show you that we care about you in return.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're offering no rent for our members just to show them that we have their back. Now, financially, that's a hit
Hmm.
that we take. At the end of the day, I think the hit that we take is so necessary and is so minute in terms of I'd rather have that evil than them walking out the door feeling like there's no end.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised that a lot of them, after receiving that correspondence, felt like so safe and so protected and so cared about, that I know it's going to work out for the greater good within the next few months as the city and the state and the world kind of gets back in action.
Hmm. Man, that's really good. So I want to talk a little bit more. So I read this article that was that exactly what your business has to offer. Like the people are shifting over because you're seeing young entrepreneurs and young small
Right.
businesses popping up every single day, and it's taking our world by a storm. And I read this article that people who are starting their businesses are tired of just sitting at home, and by simply mentioned that you're not as productive, so they'll go to spaces like yours where you're just sitting there, and you don't even have to have an office. You can just sit there and you're collaborating with people who may work in the law industry, even if you're a tech person or working in oil and gas, because it's kind of like it's mini network that you say. It's mini LinkedIn if you think
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now with this entire situation going on, we talked a little bit more about the meetings. People need to collaborate still to come in and speak, even if they can't do it over Zoom. When things start easing up a little bit, which I know in the Houston area, today or tomorrow is the first day that retail stores will be able to open up for to go and coming in. So it looks like it's getting a little bit better in Texas and in the Houston area.
Sure.
So so then that's going to mean people are going to start working again, start shifting away from their house. So do you think you would be open to opening up your office to a more of a meeting space too, where you can set up a lot of those rooms that people aren't in, set them up as smaller meeting rooms for maybe 3 or 4 people, or 5 or 6 for the bigger one that you have?
So yeah, so along with the offices that we have, we also have an open concept area as well.
Hmm.
That open concept is our version of Starbucks.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to have your own private office suite. You come in, it's open seating. You take a seat, you pull out the laptop or whatever you use, you jump onto the Wi-Fi, and all of that is covered under your membership.
Hmm.
And so we do have that now. Since this pandemic, what we've done is, how can we tap into the community? Um, we're in a very good situation here in terms of the owner of the building, and what we have to work with. And so we knew that we were protected in a sense, um, unlike a lot of other co-working spaces and other businesses. So the fact you still see me in here working is strongly due to the relationship between us and the owners.
Hmm.
And so we're in a really good situation. So we knew that we were in a situation to help.
Yeah.
It comes a point when the world needs to come together, right? You have options. You either try to figure it out and look out for yourself. Financially, everybody's hurting. We already know that. I'm not making as much as I used to, but I'm in a great spot. I'm in a blessed spot. And whenever I'm in a situation to lend a helping hand, I feel like that's the need first.
Hmm.
And so what we've done is open up our space within reason, because you got to also understand, the social distancing aspect of everything. And so it's not like we're just saying, everybody come in, join us, even if it is at no cost. We still have to be health conscious. And so we are opening up our space. It is going to be limited in terms of numbers, but we are opening up our space to people that need to get out the house or need to use printers, you know, scanners, shredders, whatever.
Hmm.
Although you might work remotely, you may not have the tools to get your packages made or print your paperwork or
Yeah.
do different things because you don't have that equipment at home. Maybe the owners do, but the people outside of that, maybe not so much. We've
Yeah.
also done curbside printing services for that same reason. If you're a little bit leery of walking into a space due to the pandemic, what you can do is call in, and we will get paperwork as you email it in. We'll print it out for you. We'll have a package made with your name, and then we'll run down to the parking lot in our drive-through area, and we will hand out your packages and paperwork that you need to still run your business if you're self-employed or if you work for someone out of state or just
Hmm.
whatever. We also have mailing service for people as well.
Hmm.
So your mailing service can be sent here. We'll handle your packaging, we'll handle your things, and have you set in our system. We have a database where it's a portal, if you will, and we'll kind of let you know when your mail has arrived. That way, you're not running back and forth to post offices where we know a lot of people congregate, or dealing with PO boxes. So we've been doing a lot of things to help our community and give back as much as possible in terms of the business aspect.
Yeah.
In terms of opening up our office, it's been a little bit slim because we also want to be conscious of people that we don't know, random people, or just anyone for that matter, coming in, not knowing their conditions or whatnot. in terms of the social distancing. So we're still trying
Yeah.
to be safe, but also lend a helping hand if we can.
So going back to that a little bit, so whenever they do open up, I know they're reevaluating in it's looking at the date, it's 10 days now. They're going to reevaluate everything that's going on, especially in Texas. I know Texas is ahead of the curve and working towards flattening the curve, one of the most out of all the states.
Right.
So whenever they do say they do open it up and they say, okay, stay at home policy has been removed, but you can't congregate in places with 50 or more people. Are you going to be opening up the service to where you can sign in? So for example, on the website, you put in your business name, put in your name and your information, and then your people will come in, do a little check over who that person is, where they've been, like what their business is, and they could maybe have a meeting or come and talk with their employees and use your printing services still. Have you thought about doing something like that after, when they do reevaluate after April 30th?
So yeah, you're spot on. That's exactly what we've been doing. We do have a form that is to be filled out by anyone that's using our space, and of course, you'd hope that it's on a trust and truthful basis.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to put out, have they traveled? Have they been around anyone sick? Have they been experiencing any kind of symptoms or whatnot? And based on those forms, and everyone will have to fill out those forms. Yes, I think that what we're dealing with is an unfortunate situation, and it's also one of those things where um, you are in a state of paranoia to a point where you stand still, or you rely on your faith and your tenacity to keep moving forward. And I personally like to look at myself as one of those people. Um, I'm aggressive. Um, I come out there head first. I do want to be um, successful in business, but I
Yeah.
understand it's going to be within doses. But I'm not in a position to just stand still.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm not in a position to stand still, not only for my own life, but for my family, but there are a lot of other people in their businesses who rely on the success of this place.
Yeah.
And so I hold a lot on my shoulders in terms of making sure that this place is filled with positivity. It's filled with a sense of security. I think that's huge. Um, Even for the members that are currently coming through here, and there have been 50% less, than my total amount. I still want to give them the reassurance that they're in a safe place. We're going to be here. It's okay. A lot of smiles, a lot of laughs, because positive energy is so imperative, and I think it's so important for them to see me and to see us strong. And so I don't think that this is going to be a circumstance where I'm going to sit still because I'm afraid. Um, these are kind of things that are inevitable. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And it sucks to say that, but it's the truth. We don't know who's going where, who's been where. I don't know when I'm going to, be around somebody that's had some things or whatever. All we can do is be as safe as we can, follow protocol as much as possible, stay clean. We have a cleaning crew that comes to disinfect, wipe down, bleach everything every single day. And that's all we can do is to be faithful and make sure that we're doing the right thing when no one's looking. And outside of that, we got to have the balls to just keep pushing.
Yeah. So I want to ask a quick question. So um, a lot of companies are starting to implement this thing for restaurants and stuff, as where before people who, for example, are coming in and signing those informations like every single day, you can do a thermometer check of the people that are coming in. So if they have a fever, you say, hey, I'm sorry, you can't
Yeah,
come in today. But if they don't, then they can go anywhere. Have you thought about implementing the thermometer checks?
man. I don't know. Um, I think if we wanted to implement something like that, it could be done. I mean, we're over a medical facility,
Yeah.
so I think that there are people that we can ask questions or figure out how that works, and if there are tools or things that we need to do that. But it's kind of one of those things still, man. I mean, someone has 102, they could feel fine, they could be fine. Someone has 100 in this, 100 in that. Someone could be sick with a 98. You don't know. And I think sometimes what we are doing is we are creating so much stuff. It's just so many things that people are now trying to tag on and add on to things that is just throwing us into a state of paranoia, man. I mean, I think that type of thing might be imperative for a different type of service, different type of business. I mean, if you're in the airport or if you're dealing with a certain type of thing, I think maybe the thermostat thing, thermometer thing is something that could work. I think for us, I don't know if that's necessary here, but if it gets to a point where it comes to that, then that'll just be the new wave and the new way of life. It's crazy to see how the world is evolving, though, man. This is getting ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it sucks to say that we really may not be able to go back to our normal lives for a good amount of time.
It's crazy.
But
It's really crazy.
I had an entire conversation with someone the other day that it's not more about us trying to add to the paranoia. It's also trying to ease people's tension, because people like you and me, I know you're saying we got to keep fighting, we got to keep going. Sometimes you can't just sit there. And I'm the same way. I want to keep fighting, I want to keep going. That's why I started this show. I was like, we need to be able to go back and do what we're doing, but obviously we have to make some changes to that. So this came up with the restaurant business. A lot of restaurants, they're shifting over to reservation only whenever they do open up again. You can't come in, reservation only. So reservations are going to be on high demand because people are going to want to come in because they're tired of sitting in their house. Like, I can't stay here anymore.
Yep.
But they're saying same thing with the first episode with Ivan Salazar at his gym. When they're planning to open up again, they were talking about using thermostats again and having the hand sanitizer out. So just those small things to make people's tensions ease a little bit. That, hey, if they see you doing these things, it's less about the things that it does, but the way it makes someone feel. You get what I'm saying?
And I totally agree with that as well. I mean, when you look at those entities, right? You're looking at a gym where people are coming in there specifically to sweat, breathe hard, be all over equipment. I feel, in that type of a journey environment, something like that is necessary, again, to ease people's concerns or nerves or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, even things like that cost money. It takes time. You have to learn it. These are all things that people don't take into consideration as well. When you're looking at doing these things, like, it sounds great. All we got to do is buy this and get that and set this up. These things, we don't know what the hell it's going to cost to get these things started. I'm not saying that it's complete bullshit, and I hope I can say that on your show. Can I say that?
You're good.
Right, man. I'm not saying that it's crap. But what I am saying is there's always going to be something else thrown in the mix. And I mean, eventually it's going to be convoluted with a bunch of shit that we have to do to keep moving. I'm old school, but I also understand easing people's nerves and making sure that everything is smooth. And so whatever it takes, I think we as a world needs to conform and figure out whatever it takes to make the masses feel comfortable so that business can resume.
Yeah.
I'm all for it if it works. But if I have to do a million different things, it's just, my brain doesn't work that way. So hopefully it doesn't get to a point where we got to start wearing spacesuits around here, but you never know.
Yeah. And I think this plays into the struggle that we're facing as a country, that we're being asked to do these things, but they're asking people who have the ability to do these things. What about the people who can't afford to go get these items, who can't afford, businesses who most small businesses live a 3% commission, like payroll to payroll, they're only taking a small amount out. Think about all these businesses that they're saying, hey, not only are we going to shut down everything that you do and claim you as non-essential, but we're also going to tell you that you need to buy all these things and get all these things done before you can come back to business. And it goes back to what happened last episode that I talked to with Professor Sampson, is that you're asking them to do that, and then you say, okay, we're going to give you the payroll protection program, but it runs out in 2 weeks.
There you go. It's tough, and it's not fair, and it's not consistent, and it's scary for the small business owner.
Hmm.
I'm in a situation where I'm a family man, so I understand being for the people. Um, Hell, even myself, I don't. No one wants to get sick. No one wants to be able to spread something to someone else. But at the end of the day, I also understand that people need to take care of their families. People have worked their asses off to build what they've built, and to have higher ups implement certain things that is not consistent. I think it's just not fair. People are lost. They don't know what to do, how to do it, how they'll survive. Things that were supposed to be passed down generation to generation to their kids, maybe in a different circumstance right now. And so for me, I'm also for the small business owner. I'm also for people starting business again. I'm also for companies getting back to work. And I know that that's not the popular thing to say right now, but you already know me. I'm a realist. At the end of the day, this is an inevitable thing. Um, it's flatlining. The virus will be here when they open the state back up, when they open the world back up. It will be here. We got to get the vaccination soon so that we can start to kind of monetize things and get people at ease. And until that's the case, we don't know what the hell's going on with the social distancing or not. I totally understand when the gates open, there's going to be a flood of people that just ready to get out the house. There's going to be another 50% that's at the house like, hell no, let me see what happens to you guys first. And I totally understand it's 50. But I also understand how economy works. I think that when the economy is at disarray, it creates a greater cause of harm and concern for people that are now looting, robbing, stealing, killing off of sheer desperation. And I almost felt like where I live, Houston, Texas, was becoming one of those places. If people get desperate, dumb shit happens. And so things need to open up slowly, but definitely it needs to open back up. So I'm for the businesses because I totally understand what that does to our world as well.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's tough because as we were talking about before, that they're not giving a timeline, they're not giving any, they're it's kind of all over the place. And
Absolutely.
going back to the economy, it's like if you look at most depressions that the United States economy has faced, the world economy has faced, majority of depressions are caused by over speculation.
Exactly.
So I don't want to say this now. I'm not saying that this maybe that this is the reason that our economy is going to go into a 4-year depression, that we're going to face some struggles that we've never faced before. But a lot of things are caused by over speculation, and I think one of these, everything that's happened, it, it's sad because it's hurting more people than it's benefiting right now, because
Absolutely.
it's going to get to a point where when people can't feed their families, when people can't pay the rent, when they're forced to go on the street, it's it, it's something that it hurts to say. You don't want to see that happen.
And that's exactly where I was coming from, man. Like it's a shame, but I feel like that's the bigger harm, right? I mean, and not to get too much in depth with what I think about the virus as a whole, because I do respect it. But as an athlete, you have to understand my mindset, right? I might be one of the most, other than your personal trainer, I think coming from an athlete's mindset, I am competitive. So this is something that I feel a personal connection with in terms of competition. Um, because I feel free enough to be on this show and speak the way I speak. Fuck this virus. That's how I feel. Um, Everybody else or a lot of other people are afraid of it. But I think you respect me as a coach because I knew what the hell I was talking about. I would have to say that. I think that's why I was respected. It's because when I said something or steering the ship, I made mistakes and I wasn't perfect, but I knew what I was talking about. I was willing to listen and I was willing to learn if there was an area that maybe I didn't know. And if I didn't know, I learned it. And then I came back to you guys to project it, to speak it, to preach it, and we move forward in terms of success. I feel like the powers that be right now are spitting so many bullets that are just spraying, and it has no direction, it has no target, and we don't know what the hell to do. Between that and the news and the media and different things, we are so afraid and we are so lost. We've got to figure out how to get this thing together. And I hope that they're coming together with something structured that we can do, follow the guidelines so that we can get back slowly but surely. But if
Yeah.
we continue going at a pace where we don't know what the hell to do, that's when it does get dangerous. So I'm more afraid of people going crazy than this virus.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important part. I think first, as you said, we need to set out certain rules, certain expectations that you expect the American people to follow, but then also give them a little bit of light, give them a little bit of hope. Show, and I think we've seen in these past couple of weeks that there is light at the end of the tunnel. A Stanford study just came out that majority of people will recover, and there's these numbers are not being put out into the internet. These numbers are not being put there, saying that more people have recovered than have died, and sadly, those people that have died, it's terrible to say that that number is there, but we just have to keep fighting.
Sure.
And I think something that should be said is that the only people that we should be looking to guidance for is the healthcare service workers. They're on the front line. They see it every day. They see what's going on. I have a conversation with my mom every single night, and I say, okay, I want you to give me the real information, because what I'm watching on the news is politicized. It's what the networks want them to say, and it's nothing what's the truth that that we need to hear as a people.
Yep.
So listen to the healthcare workers, listen to the studies provided. I think everyone needs to do their due diligence and read in for themselves, and then they can make their own opinion. So at the end of the day, we are American people. We fight for liberty, justice, and freedom for all,
Absolutely.
and the freedom of thought, the freedom of a choice. So let them go and make their choice off educated decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Well, Coach Jay, if you have anything to say to small businesses, any words of wisdom, any sense of hope, and then a shout out in the ending to your business, and we'll be done from there.
Man, again, I'm nobody special, man. I'm a guy that just gets out every day. I work my ass off, man, and you know that. And so for me, I would just say for anyone else in my position, or that's just out there trying to figure it out, man, just stick to it, stay strong, and keep getting up every day and going to work. Whether the dollars are slim, whether the dollars are plentiful, get up, get to work, continue brainstorming. Right now is a great time to learn. If anyone out there, especially young people like yourself, if I can cater to your demographic right now, the youth that want to be great, and seeing and witnessing a time like this is a special time for you guys. In 36 years of my life, I've never seen anything like this. And I'm sure your parents say the same, even though we are at a different demographic. But young people right now, man, this is where you grab your journal, you grab your pen, and you write down what it is that you're good at, your strengths, your weaknesses, figure out what the world is in need of, figure out what is going on right now, and how you can make a difference. Whenever there's a time of a crisis like this, I always look to help first. And I see that when you look to help and create a, a, a hand, in a sense, that doors open up for you. And then you can kind of find your way through giving back. So if anyone's in a position to help or give back, this is a great time. If you're sitting at home playing video games, watching TV, that's not the wave. Right now, you need to read, you need to study, you need to get on YouTube. I have a master's degree in YouTube, right? YouTube is everything. There is no reason for somebody to not be stronger by the end of this pandemic than prior to. You should come out of this thing knowing more, having more information. Find your tutelage online if you don't have a mentor figure. Hell, find a mentor figure. Ask questions. Right now, people have a little bit more time. You know, chat with people, get to know people, ask questions. So that's what I would do, man. If it's anything, I say keep your brain sharp, because at times like this, you can really dull yourself out and get lazy. This is the time we need to get up and get strong, and it'll teach you a lot about yourself. Can you get up and be proactive even when there's not a lot of money? When there's not a lot of benefit, when you can't see a lot of benefit, I'll say. That's the true testament of a person that's built for success. A lot of people will get up if they feel like there's a dollar sign attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
but can you get up and be great when things are scarce? And so for me, that's what motivates me to get up. Not to mention I have a family, but I want to be great. Now I'm going to see something that I built, stay alive. So yeah, man, I'm proud of you, my man. I see what you're doing. I have known you since you was a young buck. I see you now, man. Your speech is eloquent. You're super bright. I think your career is going to be super bright. I'm looking forward to seeing what you manifest into. Your future endeavors are going to be great. I'm always here for you if you need anything. Again, thank you for thinking about me. And I hope that any information that I had to share today was valuable to anyone out there. So if there's one person that heard something that I said and got something from it, then we did our job.
Yeah, thank you so much. So once again, Coach Jay, the ranch office, I'm going to put all the information in the link of the
Please do.
video on the LinkedIn.
Sure.
And thank you so much once again.
Anytime,
Bye.
brother.
See ya.